Have a look at this. Beautiful. Just into first month of spring, and all our camellias are in flower, and that should tell you something about what type of soil we have here. Okay, so let's get back to the planting side of things. I might just reiterate that plan your garden before you start planting things. So what I'll do is I'll take you through a map, an aerial map that I have, and show you how everything's situated and oriented. The people who had this place before us developed it for 30 years, and I think they've done a really good job. Obviously they didn't envisage a few things which I'll show you in the oncoming discussion. So I suppose we can just let's get to it. Right, we're here looking at an aerial shot of our property, which is about 6,600 square meters. So where you see the boundary lines here, that's our area here. Now I'd just like to sort of give you an overview of how it was established from a previous owners who had lived there for I think over 30 years, and there was nothing on here at all. They actually lived in the shed here while their house was being built. So I'll take you through how they've done it, which is quite almost permaculture-y way of that they've done it. So I'll start up in this corner here. So this is the eastern end of the property, and obviously this end here will be south. This end up here is the north, and then over on this side here we have the western side. So I'll start from the eastern side. So all of this end here is facing quite a large hill here, so it comes down to the road, and then it sort of gradually dips down another metre or two before it gets down to the creek area here. So we have got a stand of walnut trees here, which obviously didn't work for them because these trees here attracted a lot of sulphur-crested cockatoos, and before the fruit even got close to being ripe, they used to strip the trees. Now, the way they've structured the garden is they decided to put a woodlot, like the creek runs down through here, so they put a woodlot in this area here, which runs up to the creek. This is just a really nice stand of gums here. So this is all eucalypts. In here we have lovely willow trees and a cricklewood willow, which is beautiful to sit under in the summertime. And then they've, in the northern end here, you have this winter sun comes streaming through here, and the winter sun, when it rises, is over this part of the trees somewhere, and then comes across the skies and sort of puts the sun right through here over the veggies, not necessarily over the orchard because they're deciduous. And then in the summer, sun comes up over this side, right over these gums, and pretty much when it goes across the skies, goes right across over their property, which is well lit up. Now, when you get to this side of the creek here, this is quite flat. And then when you start to get about this section here, then it starts going back up again, fair way up, and the house is sitting on a rise over this side. And then we have our deciduous trees, which are obviously this photo aerial shot was in the summer. And we have liquid ambers, some birch trees, a ginkgo biloba, and some golden elms. And we also, over this side, we have Japanese maples, which are really good for the summer afternoon sun, protecting the house from the heat. and then some callistemon or bottle brushes, as you can see shading the car. We ended up removing this liquid amber here because it was shading too much of our solar panels, and it was quite tall. It was probably 20-30 meters tall, but we still have kept these liquid ambers here which run along the fence. Now the shed here can house 2 cars. We also have rainwater tanks behind them which we use for the garden, and then rainwater tanks here for the house which is on rainwater, and then another rainwater tank here for this side of the garden. The creek here, I have started a bit of erosion control in there because it was getting quite deep, and I've been using bluestone to line the areas of the creek where I could try and avoid any erosion of the soil. So in this area here where the orchard is, the winter time it doesn't matter because they're dormant, and with the winter sun comes through here, and the house has been set up in a way that is quite sustainable, as in all this area here is the living area. So we have the lounge, kitchen, dining area, and this is all windows, so the winter sun streams in through these windows because it's quite low in the sky, and is quite nice warming up the house, although we do have plenty of firewood for our combustion heater. And we're also on a solar battery, so we do use that in the evenings part-time. And the veggie garden here is generally in in sun all year round, and over this area here I'll be looking to put a polytunnel. Now the reason they put these deciduous trees around the house is because we're quite prone to bushfires in Australia, and it's a really good fire protection for around the house, because they would generally come from the northwest. So there you have it. You've got a lovely set-up garden, very permaculture style, where this side, or the southern end, this is all development here now, and it is well set up. So nice and flat here. It's very clay soil, very acidic soil, hence we have camellias, rhododendrons, all the acidic loving plants growing in and around the house there. So let's go into the field, and I'll explain it to you in real life, and see if you can sort of work that in with anything you may have planned. Now these trees, I'll just mention these trees here, the people who owned this weren't expecting to have all these gums planted there. So now these trees are probably 25 metres, 30 metres tall, and in the winter time they throw quite a long shadow across this area here. So it probably takes mid to late morning before the sun reaches here. But in summertime, it's not a problem. So there you go, and hopefully you get something out of that, and enjoy the live session of this, because I have a couple of sections there where I show this creek flowing quite high. So these sorts of things you need to consider when wanting to plant things out. You know, might look at this area here and think, oh, I'll put all of these bushes and shrubs there, and before you go through a season or two, not realising that creek will actually fill that whole section up. So if you put a particular type of plant there, you need to think about whether that plant is going to survive a bit of flooding, because usually the flood waters go down fairly quickly when it stops raining. Okay, I'll see you on the next On the Ground. Righto, so here we are. I'm going to be showing you how this garden was set up, and I'll start with the eastern end, which is behind me, and then we'll work our way around and how they've done that. Now I've shown you on the aerial photograph of the different places, east, west, north and south of the property. Now I'm just showing you how this is organised. Now this property is sloped, so as you can see this is sort of flattened off a bit here, and basically then just over the creek it starts rising up again, and just behind me you see all of that eastern section. That is quite a large hill, so normally at sunrise it takes an extra half an hour to an hour from when they say sun is rising time to when it's actually rising in this place here. So that's your eastern end. You have your creek here, which is something you need to consider, and I'll quickly show you a video of a storm we had, or a rain downfall we had, and the things you need to look at before you're planting anything within a creek area. So have a quick look at this. So as I've said about planning, this is one of the things you need to look for or wait for when you're planning your garden. Give it 12 months, let all the seasons come through. We've got a branch there. Yeah, so you know, if you're going to put plants in here, you need to make sure that they don't mind a bit of a wet feet. So as you can see, it's getting fairly full. So you've seen the creek when it was so it's not far off underneath me there. So sort of stop raining. Better watch out. Yeah, this was a lot higher than this. This has dropped considerably since the rain stopped. So this is the sort of thing you need to consider when you're wanting to plant things, to make sure that they're happy with wet feet. They don't mind being waterlogged for a short period of time. This is what I mean by going through your seasons to see what happens in your property, so you can establish what you can plant, what you can't plant, what's going to like wet feet. Some things thrive, like all these thrushes and reeds. So you can see some gums that are in the water there, but they're used to it. This is Australia, nice bit of flooding. That's one aspect that needs to be considered when you own a property. So here we have the eastern end, and obviously springtime we have the willows all coming into leaf. And over here, just have a look over here, we have a hedge of bamboo. So that's a bit of screening, so something else for you to consider. So let's go over here to the southern side. So over here, south. So over here you can see all of this section here is the woodlot, and the woodlot is been really situated in a great spot because it's a nice place to walk under. It's not really affecting any sort of growth in other areas of the property. And then you go across the creek to the other part there, which is some more eucalypts and beautiful trees, and also my beehives. So which I'll leave that for another time. So, and then you come across here, and then here we have, these are your deciduous trees, liquid ambers, birch trees, and that one there, my favourite, is a ginkgo biloba. Who would have thought? Normally they take quite a long time to grow, but when we bought this place, have a look at this, we bought a botanic gardens in itself. So, and as you can see, we have camellias everywhere. Camellia there, rhododendron there. So it's been really well done, and I'm just sort of putting my personality to it. Okay, let's just move around to the western side. So obviously you're going to have the sun, summertime, directly overhead. So all of this part here is in full sun, and by that time all these deciduous trees will be in full leaf, and you'll find that they'll put nice bits of shadow over the house to keep it cool. Very well thought out. And also on the other side of the house, the western, southern side, we have our rainwater tanks there, which I've shown you on the aerial photo. So, and then you can see we have a garden bed here. I have my 8 garden beds here, which I'll let you have a quick look at a video of a walkthrough with that. So have a quick look and see what you think. And this is part of the design of the garden, so creating your garden beds. I have 8 garden beds here, which I've revamped. So with I've done some raised and some I've left reasonably ground level. I'll probably raise the others for good reason. It does help stop critters like snails and slugs getting into raised beds, and you've got more control. So this is part of the plan. So over here on the right you can see that's a beautiful garlic bed, which won't be due to harvest till about November. And oh, there's our little pooch Shanti. Hello Shanti. Hello little girl. And the bed she's sitting next to is just a spinach, and I've only just put in some Yacon rhizomes. If you're wondering what they are, they're called Persian ground apples, and they are fantastic. They're a little bit like sweet potato, but not sweet potato, and you can eat them raw. They have a slightly sweet taste. They're really good for diabetics, as the sugar content in them is an inulin, so it really is good and healthy for you. So let's just walk down here. And this one here on the right is obviously cabbage and broccoli that I've just finished harvesting, and I have netting there for the birds, and also the cabbage moth. And on the left here I've just finished preparing that, nicely bunch of parsley and kale there, but I've prepared that with some compost and manures. Let that sit for a few weeks, and I'll be putting tomatoes in there. And have a look at this. This is my snow peas, and they're huge, full of flowers, and yeah, I'm really happy with that. So I'll just turn you around and give you an idea of how big this is. So as you can see, I'm standing in front of it and it's towering over me. So pretty good. Now you've got to remember that snow peas are a legume and they're nitrogen fixers, so you don't really need to fertilise a lot to have them grow, as they will put nitrogen back into the soil. And then another garden bed here which has some iceberg lettuce, parsley and cabbages, which aren't quite ready yet. And next to the snow peas we have some more iceberg lettuce and some onions, brown and white onions. So the last 2 beds, and the one on the right there is my favourite, because it's the first year we're able to going to be able to harvest asparagus. This whole bed is asparagus, so we've got plenty. As you can see, they're just starting to come up there. Lovely asparagus. So this whole bed will be filled. And the last bed here, I have netted to stop the blackbirds getting in there, but that has kale and spinach and radishes at the end. So this part here you need to consider, because I know this is reasonably shaded in the winter, so you need to be able to think about what will grow in partially shaded areas. But in summertime all of this is in full sun. So there you have it with my lovely 8 garden beds, and loving it. And there is an irrigation system right through there which is automated, and I might take you through that at another stage. So let's get back to the planning. Okay, let's move on. So anyway, as we move on, we have more deciduous trees up behind the shed, up there, and just right on the western side of our property, there are Japanese maples, which I've shown on the map, dotted right around the house. So in the heat of the day, the western sun doesn't heat up the house but keeps it cool. So these are sorts of things you need to consider when you're planning. And obviously where you want to put your shade houses, and I'm considering putting a polytunnel here because we get nice winter sun through here, so there's sun here all year. Come on, let's walk around and we'll have a look at the northern side. So here in the northern side we have the sun. Wintertime, we just come out of winter, normally comes up over there. See these trees here? I don't think they expected these to be here when they planned the place. So that's something you need to consider when you have sort of unforeseen situations where you have no influence on how things go, but you just work with it and think about what you can and can't do. Don't be too scared to read the labels and say, oh, it has this, this and this. I always give something a go. I have dragon fruit growing over there, and I've had them for a couple of years, and they don't like frost, which they don't, but they still keep growing. So yeah, so things like this where you have huge crop of trees, it throws a lot of shadow over, but obviously summertime, that's not an issue. And in the winter, all these fruit trees which are dormant anyway, it doesn't really matter. So, and then we have, and as you can see over here, this is my orchard. Beautiful peacherine in full flower, and then a couple of apple trees, pears, and some more peaches up the back. I love my peaches. And so there you go. That's something that you need to look at, and gives you an idea of what you can do and what you can't do. Obviously this is a reasonably sized property, and you sort of, I don't know, you just work with it. And even with smaller properties, you still need to consider all of these things in aspect of where the sun's going up and down. And that's why I say that a good 12 months is a good time to sort of plan and look and just jot down notes of what the sun and shadow and weather's doing in your little plot. So for now, from here, I'm going to show you an aerial shot just to finish off of the property, sort of give you an overhead view with a drone that I just let loose. Well, not really. So in any case, hope you enjoyed that, and gives you some idea of the beautiful things that you can do when you can see the outcome of something. So when you first plant things, they're like this high, and then 20, 30 years down the track, you have something like this. So stick with it and you'll reap the benefits. Well, I hope you got something out of that bit of an overview of how this place was developed, and I was quite excited when we first bought the place to see what they had done here. So people obviously knew what they were doing and created things that were very sustainable. And yeah, so just give us some feedback, comments, your thoughts, maybe subscribe, hit that like button,
as I keep forgetting to ask people to do, not that it bothers me that much. And hopefully see you in the next video, which I am so excited about because it is going to be done in Bali, and I'll be visiting some organic farms, nurseries, and maybe hydroponic farms to see what's in another part of the world. Till then, Uru.
I've travelled far, sometimes with purpose, sometimes just to feel the wind to remind me I'm still alive. I've been lost before, not just on the map, but in my own thoughts, wondering if I'd taken the wrong turn somewhere. But the truth is, every road, every storm, every still morning was exactly where I needed to be. Because the universe, it always had my back, even when I doubted it, even when I couldn't see the path ahead. Every delay was protection, every ending was an opening, every silence a quiet invitation to trust, and somewhere between the struggle and surrender, I found it, home, not just a place but a feeling, a knowing, that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. Written for Echoes of Life.